Hi, my name's Steve Waldron. I'm the GIS coordinator and instructor here at the City of Richmond. The purpose of this video is to introduce the city's ArcGIS Online users to story maps. This is a slide you have already seen by going through our GIS curriculum. By now, you will have already gone through our ArcGIS Online curriculum here. You have an ArcGIS Online account. You've been introduced to ArcGIS Online. You know how to make web maps. You know how to find layers. You know how to symbolize them. You know how to customize pop-up behaviors. You know how to do lots of things. You've been through the part 2 class. We talked about organizing your workspace and other standards that you can follow. You may have even taken the online learning plan. So having done this, you are now engaged in taking electives. You may have already taken one of these other 3 classes. But now you're taking the story maps in ArcGIS online course. This is outlined in red because according to our legend, this will require online learning by you yourself, the user. The purpose of this video is just to introduce you to story maps and to provide you with a glimpse of the resources you have available to you. So first off, what is a story map? Well, it's a web map that's been thoughtfully created. You've given it context by integrating maps, legends, and text. And then you can include other media like photos and even videos around your map. You can use templates, and then you can publish a story map without writing any code. You simply create a web map. You supply the text and the images around the map to create your story. Story maps are used by organizations to communicate policy, promote a cause, demonstrate benefits, provide public information, educate, or even inspire people. It is a web app and it is stored in your ArcGIS Online workspace. This is a great spot to go and look at some story map samples. We can look at previously completed story maps by your coworkers here at the City of Richmond. This is a story map for RVA Green 2050. This is the city's integrated adaptation, mitigation, and equity-centered climate action planning initiative to reduce carbon greenhouse emissions by 80% by the year 2050. This story map uses a series of maps that show different factors of the vulnerabilities of our city's population. Here we can see a map showing population factors. Each of this map has a number of different tabs that can be investigated. We can see health and safety factors related to the RVA Green project. So we can see where we have people with disabilities. We see people with adult asthma, etc., or a combined score. We can look at household factors. Okay, so single parent households, renters, etc. We can look at income. They've provided lots of different web maps within the story to tell us about the population, the vulnerable population, and the factors. This very last section is a cumulative social vulnerability score based on 39 plus factors, so the overall vulnerability. So this is kind of a neat story map that was created by the Sustainability Office. Let's look at another example. This is a story map created for the Richmond 300. This was the effort to create the city's latest city master plan. So this is a story map. It's actually a series of maps. It shows neighborhoods. It shows existing land use. You can zoom in. You can investigate the data. You can look at zoning districts. You can look at special approvals. So there's a lot of different maps being provided. And this uses a series of maps to show the different factors that might be something that help people think critically about the city and provide input of their ideas for the master plan. Over here on the left, we can see that the planner who created this asks people to ponder things about the subject matter. Here's another story map. This one was created by a DPU consultant. This is a great example of using a story map to communicate and provide public information. This one is about this Richmond City's combined sewer system. It's using a really slick video, and as we go through the map, it shows some great historical pictures of the sewer system. It discusses how the water system works. It describes, and here comes the map. This is an interactive map that you can explore. You can zoom in. You can investigate the different outfalls where sewer water can be expelled from. Okay, so you can really go in, you can investigate and see the combined sewer system. So it's just a really nice story map. It provides a lot of terrific visuals. The GIS map part of it is just one aspect, whereas the Richmond 300 was very GIS centric. We'll look at just one more. This is a story map created by DPW. You'll find that ESRI actually uses story maps as a means of providing instructions for their own tutorials. DPW is probably the most advanced department when it comes to creating and using ArcGIS Online web apps. So in this example, just like ESRI does, we can see that DPW has a story map that they use for teaching their own employees to use the GIS web apps that they've created for their department. So as we scroll through the map, we can see they've recorded a video along with instructions of how to zoom in and out on their applications. They've got one, how to return to default, how to search for features. So this is great. They have instructions and videos side by side. Legends, how to use the legend, how to turn on layers. So this is a tutorial that they created that their users can go through to learn how to use their web apps. The one thing you can notice is none of these story maps looks the same. And it's one of those reasons that we're not demonstrating how to create a story map ourselves. It's completely up to the user. It's artistic. No two story maps are going to look the same. And we will just show you resources that you can use to learn to make your own story maps. Going back to the presentation, you can access story maps a number of ways. One of the ways is after you've logged into ArcGIS Online. So when you log into ArcGIS Online, you can look for the waffle. We call this the waffle. And if you click on it, it gives you a list of all the apps, and you'll see an app for story maps. So when you click on story maps, it'll take you to this page. And this, under quick links, this is the place where you can find the resources to teach you how to make story maps. There's a lot of fantastic resources here I'll briefly walk you through. So here I am in ArcGIS Online. I'm going to click on the waffle, and I'm going to go to story maps. Let me zoom in a bit so you can see it more clearly. So over here are the quick links. The big ones that were highlighted were getting started. Well, let's go in order. You can explore stories. So what's neat is ESRI is showing you samples. You can browse some story albums by topic. They've got editor's picks. They've got some tips and tricks of the trade for you. There's a lot of resources here that you can go and research. If we click on Get Started, this is a good place to start. I might recommend you start here to get your feet wet. This is a tutorial. The tutorial itself is a story map. So it goes through and shows you step by step in the proper order of how you might create a story map. It's a very long tutorial, okay? But you're not limited there. There are tutorials. You can see the link here. If you go and you look at tutorials, this is probably your best resource to learn how to create story maps. Lots of different examples. These are tutorials to walk you through how to make maps that behave and look like this. You also have webinars. So if you have a preference, you can actually watch webinars created by actual users. So they can introduce you and review story maps that they've created and techniques that they've used for their story maps. ESRI publishes the latest news. So if there's any updates going on with story maps, you can come to this link. They feature a lot of their most popular or favorite story maps. So the point I want to make, when you log into ArcGIS Online, you can go to the waffle, you can get to story maps, and it's under quick links. You can find all the resources you need to get started. There are other resources. I think the best is from the story map, but you can go to the ESRI training catalog. Right? We've taught you about the catalog. This is the URL for it. And if you sign in, then you will have access to lots of free resources. You can see there are resources for getting started with ArcGIS story maps as an example. You can also go to ESRI's product page. So you can go to their story maps page. This is the link for that. And finally, what's next? You can find a copy of this slide deck for this course at this URL. It's also available from our GIS training videos webpage, where you found this video. We'd like you to send an email to us at this email address to inform our office that you have taken the Story Maps course. We like to keep track of which students we have that are taking these courses. The third thing you can do is get started. I know you can do it. All those story maps you saw me highlight from our coworkers here in the city, well, they created those story maps all on their own. They didn't call us or ask us for any help. So given the resources that we've pointed out, I know you can do it too.